coffee, sir?
No thanks, Lance. Now, where were we? Oh right, sustainability. So it might have sounded like the next thing I was going to say, that we are all doomed.
Yes, sir. Aren't we doomed? Isn't doom why preppers prep?
For some. But we're not necessarily doomed. You see, the powers that be are masters at making the current paradigm run. They may be successful in their attempts to keep this going.
Oh, that's good news.
Yes and no. It's clear that since our civilization is built on an unsustainable foundation, that something has to change. In other words, a big paradigm shift is unavoidable. But what it shifts to is anyone's bet. But since the public and leaders want the current paradigm to continue, the timing of the shift is anyone's bet too. And just to clarify, by shift I mean the sudden shocking change when everyone wakes up and can no longer admit that things are badly broken. The actual shift has been in movement for some time.
Ah, that's why some people are awake and some are still sleeping, sheeple.
Right.
What about the New World Order conspiracy? Isn't there some dark force behind all this?
No. No such thing. That's a fantasy concocted by people grasping at straws. The truth is that at the core of our culture is the belief that we should value acquisition above everything else. This is a fallacy that it has everyone consuming, collecting, begging, borrowing, and stealing. Society has gone insane with the lust for acquisition. All other values are now dwarfed by the lust for acquisition. 200 years ago many people were also obsessed with acquisition, but there was a lot to still acquire. But not anymore.
So acquiring is bad? What you're saying sounds communist or socialist.
That's funny. No. I'm a capitalist and liberal. But I place balance above acquisition as my highest value, much like native peoples around the globe have for thousands of years.
Balance over acquisition? What a noble thought. But isn't that communist?
No. Balance in nature comes from diversity. Diversity implies that power and control are decentralized. No one group controls the rest. Instead, each group and individual has their role and responsibility. In a balanced system, everything does what it does best and is a part of the larger natural cycle. Political governing systems can be split into two groups: centrally and decentrally managed. 200 years ago, America's founding fathers established a framework where the people could manage themselves using a decentrally managed government.
Isn't that what we have today?
No. Over time, power concentrates just like wealth. So today we have elected representatives that are also masters of the current acquisition paradigm. So they, like so many, are blind to the problem. They only look for ways to correct the problems from within the acquisition mindset. The solution lays outside the mindset. Albert Einstein once said, "You cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. You must learn to see the world anew."
We're screwed.
Not necessarily. You see, if enough people realize change is not just needed but required, and they choose wisely, a collapse is avoidable. If they don't, collapse is inevitable.
Why?
It's like a herd of animals stampeding toward a cliff. If enough of the in front slow down and the rest notice, tragedy can be avoided. We may be those out in front.
And we must turn and show others we're turning.
Yes. And try not to get pulled over the cliff with them if we fail to show the others the way. Let's regroup back at my office.